Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Anomaly 2. It's a sequel to Anomaly Warzone Earth. It's brought to you by 11-bit. It's got this music. So it basically thinks it's Spider-Man, let's be honest here. It's even got a web in the background, so it's like, this could be a Spider-Man game. It's not. As I said, sequel to Warzone Earth, also Anomaly Korea, which was a pseudo-sequel of sorts on iOS, and was not brought to PC for some reason. This series of games has actually been very successful on mobile devices, Android and iOS, but of course has also had a PC version. Anomaly 2, I imagine they're going to bring to iOS. This is actually some months away from release. What we're going to see here is a pre-release version, as you can see in the very small text down at the bottom there, and it is going to be the infamous vertical slice of gameplay. You've probably heard that term over the last couple of months, mostly in relation to Aliens Colonial Marines. What that means is it's a few levels thrown together for the purposes of showing the press. It's lacking in some features, and it's nowhere near complete. It also means it's extremely accelerated. So the difficulty curve isn't so much a curve as it is run face first into a spiked brick wall, which is what I found on one of these missions. They speed you through pretty quickly because they want to show you a little bit of variety in a small period of time. So I'm going to attempt to demonstrate this to you as best I can, and we'll have a look and see what kind of an advancement, if at all, it is on the previous game, which I kind of liked. I mean, Warzone Earth was definitely not a bad game. It had some awful voice acting, but in terms of the whole tower offense kind of idea, it worked pretty well. So, as I said, it's pre-release version, so that doesn't really mean you're going to see an awful lot of settings here, so there's really not a lot you can do with this. I would hope they do offer it, because even though it is a tower offense game, it still has some pretty high graphical fidelity, so being able to change things around in a more precise way would be nice. Plus, there's some fairly weird color filters that go on every now and again that are a little bit obnoxious that I would quite like to not have in the game, if at all possible. Now, you may have seen multiplayer. That is currently disabled, simply because it's just not available. They haven't done it yet. It's a pre-release version. That's very much tower offense versus tower defense, which is a nice asymmetrical mode, which I like the idea of. I'd have also liked sort of a Winter Mall Wars style thing where you maybe do both. That would be a bit mad. This mission is, I dipped into it, and it's a friggin' nightmare. We'll try it in a minute. I've gone through these and the 3 VR training missions as well as the Prelude. Annoyingly enough, the Prelude basically echoes exactly what you're told in the first mission, which is incredibly stupid. They basically did the same tutorial twice, which is a complete waste of time. I'm hoping they reconsider that for the release. So let's go into this one. This will show you a reasonable amount, and then we will attempt Mission 3, which is going to require a ridiculous amount of focus that I probably can't do while commentating. But that's the fun of the challenge, is it not? We're going advanced for the time being.
Finally, we reached the outskirts of New York City.
Good. We finally managed to get to New York City. Now we have to find Dr. Xander. As always, there's a problem. We lost track of the doctor's distress signal. Our intel suggests the machines are scrambling it. Your first target? These clusters of scramblers. Their interference makes it impossible to pinpoint the doctor's position. In addition to the scramblers, Recon tells us the enemy has some new kind of weapon. There's 2 unguarded machines on the shore of the Hudson River. Send in your team to investigate. I want to see what makes these things tick.
Alright. We are rocking and rolling. In this case, it's actually started me automatically with a unit. Little scripted event going on. So what's most likely going to happen here is my vehicle's going to get destroyed, if I recall correctly, or it's going to open fire on this, and then some weird stuff's going to happen. Yeah, so on and so forth. Kind of irritating, but you know, we've got to go through this anyway, just for the sake of it. Now, what you're going to be seeing here is me controlling this little guy in a suit. This is very similar to the previous Anomaly games. This allows you to deploy abilities directly onto the battlefield while your stuff is moving. So, what's going to happen here is he's going to open fire on this, it's going to grow, and then it's going to pop into this giant tower, and then it's going to do this scripted thing to show you a new kind of weapon, and blah, 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 blah. You know how it is. That's the unfortunate nature of a lot of these missions and the way that they presented this. Because they're presenting it for the press who supposedly don't know anything about this, even though I played the previous games. They do a lot of tutorial. A lot of tutorial, which is a little bit unfortunate. And I probably should have repaired that, turns out. We can revert to last checkpoint. I was too busy telling you about that. So yeah, I'm going to try and keep this thing alive. Shouldn't be too much of a problem this time. I'm just going to pop a bunch of repair. So... yeah, we're going to shoot at that. And then I'll get along to actually tell you a little bit about some of the new features in this particular version. Right, I am a big, stompy, scary tower. Blah, 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 blah. Let's deploy a repair aura to make sure that we can take this down. Needless to say, this thing is a little bit difficult to deal with. Can I take him? No, I can't. I'm going to have to deploy another repair aura. There we go. And then that should be able to take that tower down. Needless to say, killing those is not exactly easy. There we go. Thank you. Thanks for reaffirming that. So the gimmick with those is that you can't use a fast fire rate unit to kill them. And if you do, then horrible things will happen to you. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. We're going to swap out this unit for something which fires a little bit slower. And then we should be able to deal with that. Yep. Okay, there we go. It's repeating this. Annoyingly enough, it's repeating the same goddamn tutorial, even though I've already done the mission, which is infuriating, I've got to say. Buy ourselves a hammer, then sell this particular unit. There we go. Could buy a second hammer. Why not? Close the squad menu, and then suddenly I have different units popping in. These are artillery pieces. They are very much designed to do long-range damage. They have a limited arc of fire, as you can probably see right there. So I'm going to transform my units. This is one of the major features. This is actually the biggest gimmick of the new Anomaly game, is that you are able to... all of your units can transform into a different form on command by double-clicking. So, as you can see, I can change between a rocket walker and a hover howitzer of sorts. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, yes, yes. I've seen all of this before, which is fairly annoying. And you're going to have to do that for certain situations. Like here, having the artillery piece open is pretty much ideal, because I've got a nice range going on. Now, this is for the benefit of those of you who haven't played the previous game or didn't watch my previous WTF Is on this particular title when it came out like a year and a half ago. This is a tower offense game, which means that you're going to be trying to work your way through a set of towers to an objective in the most optimal way possible. You will try and help out your convoy by using abilities in your combat suit, and you can also change the direction that you decide to move in. So you have to plan your routes. Now, you can plan it in such a way as to avoid certain towers, or you can go right through them if you want to get 100% completion rate. There are also awards given for completing in the fastest time. There's multiple objectives which are optional, which you can perform if you so desire. I'm going to optimize this route, so I head down here, blow up this stuff, and then we'll loop around to get the rest of the scramblers, and then we'll be able to go through to the next area. This is a fairly large level. That should do quite nicely. Let's outfit our squad. We could get a couple more hammers. I think, actually, that might not be a terrible idea, considering we seem to be... do we have any more of those enemy units? We have a few, I'm pretty sure, so it might not be a bad idea to go all hammers for the moment. Yeah, let's go all hammers. The two types of unit available in this particular press beta are the hammer and the hound. The sledgehammer turns into the rocket hammer and vice versa, so artillery piece into a rocket bot. And then you've also got the hounds. The hounds are a little bit more beefy. It's a double Gatling turret and a double flamethrower. These are designed for taking a little bit more punishment. I think, have enough damage capability and output here to be able to shut this down. And even if it's not, I can sell these units and I can pick up more if I so desire. In this case, I can't sell the hammers for as much as they actually cost, which is unfortunate, but I think we should have enough to do some pretty serious damage here. So what I'm going to do is lay down some fire here. I should be out of range of these towers, so I'm not really too worried. These scramblers are absolutely going to get it as we go past here. And I may be able... Can I shoot from here? Probably not. You see there's a building in the way, so at that point I'm going to turn all of my guys into rocket hounds that are much, much more effective at close range. They're going to take some damage, but nothing my repair aura can't resolve. So that's all good. We can change these guys at the back to artillery so that they can fire in this direction. Let's get the repair aura up to keep them alive. That should go down in a second. The artillery pieces should be able to fire from that particular position. We'll probably get one more shot off with the howitzer, turn them over, and switch them to the rocket pods. And you see where the mechanic's going, right? You see what the game is designed around. Designed around the notion that you must dynamically change your units. I don't think I have the most optimal setup here. In fact, I'm almost convinced that I don't. But it seems to be working reasonably well up to this point. Okay, we have a pretty big tower here. Thankfully, it is out of range. I'm going to quickly dash back and grab some of these power-ups. There we go. That should do the trick. And then we can continue to move here. Alright, so this guy's a little bit beefy, so I'm going to use a decoy to draw him away. He's got a very slow turn rate, which can be exploited. There we go. And I'm able to deal a pretty significant amount of damage here, which is always nice to see. I'm missing some of the towers kind of on purpose here. Alright, now I can upgrade my squad, or I can buy a new unit. I'm going to buy a hammer. Was it... No, damn it. I didn't actually mean to do that. Sell that, buy a hound, and I'm going to move the hound to the front of the formation. It's going to be taking the fire. I'm going to morph it to a hellhound because they're much, much more effective at dealing with that. And then once I've got the cash, I'll probably upgrade it. And it's basically going to be my tanky kind of unit. And considering the amount of firepower that I've got available here, let's check ahead and see what we're going to be facing. I might be able to get a reasonable shot off here, but this could be quite dangerous. Thankfully, I can distract it. I moved around here and actually distracted the tower by moving myself underneath it, and now I'm going to deploy a decoy again to exploit its slow turning rate. So you can kind of see the sort of strategy that I'm employing here in order to make this work. Seems to be working reasonably well, and I'm just keeping my artillery up at the moment since they seem to be doing the job. They're pretty damn effective. So this morphing mechanic is actually a lot of fun, and I could see some really cool advanced plays happening. In the case of the Hellhound, this has two independently targeted weapons, which actually heat up over time. The Gatling turrets also spin up over time as well, which is pretty cool. I very much like that idea. And there's quite a lot of depth there, but unfortunately, as I said, in this version of the game, there is only two choices you can really make in terms of your units. You get the hammers, and then you get the hounds, and that's pretty much about it. I'm going to put the repairs up here. Let's change these guys over to rocket bots. In fact, we're just going to destroy this turret without too much of a problem. And he's going to tank a little bit more. Change these over to rockets. Change the guys at the back to artillery since they've got a pretty clear shot here. Deploy another repair aura. And yeah, you can see where this is going. This is only on the second of 4 difficulty levels, so consider this could get pretty damn hectic, and indeed Anomaly on its harder difficulty levels did exactly the same thing. Now, unfortunately, these have limited arcs of fire, so I'm going to be able to get a couple of shots as they turn around the corner here, but that's probably about it. So these guys will be better off as rockets for the time being, since they're going to be heading in this direction, and actually on this turn I could get a shot off at those scramblers and then turn them back into rockets, and then maybe turn the guys at the front back into artillery because they're going to be coming around this corner quite nicely, and then the flamethrowers should be able to handle this. Can I distract this for a while? I can. Let's plump down a decoy and all will be good. Now, I think the morphing mechanic adds an awful lot to it. I think once they manage to get more units into the game, this could get really, really hectic and really cool in terms of its strategic ideas. The notion of having this guy at the front as a tank seems to be a pretty good plan, but you can also just switch him back to his assault mode, and he'll generally be a lot more effective in combat against something that's not straight up close to it. But of course, alternatively, in other situations, what you want to end up doing is making sure that you are shooting from a particularly good distance, and if something is behind a piece of cover, you switch all your guys over to Hellhounds and so on and so forth. Alright, sweet. So there's a lot more scramblers I need to take out here. We'll go around this route and just knock them out without too much of a problem. That should be fine. Sweet. I can also upgrade my units. It's a fairly linear way of doing things, but it's useful to have. If I want to upgrade this guy, I can. There we go. So he's going to be a lot tougher now, and since he's my guy at the front and he's doing a lot of tanky stuff, then that's pretty good for me. Gotta speed up time a little bit. So, as you can see, it's not a huge advancement on the previous titles, but it's enough of one to take another look at it. The addition of a multiplayer offense-defense mode is probably going to attract an awful lot of people to this. Of course, the notion of min-maxing, I mean, this game's actually kind of full of that. There's a lot of leaderboards available and a lot of potential awards that you can get for doing things in the most optimal way possible. So I feel that the levels do bear multiple playthroughs if you are the kind of person that really wants to optimize everything. And I'm pretty sure they're doing the right thing in billing the game as something like that, simply because that's how tower defense often works. Tower defense is an optimization game. And why should tower offense be any different? The answer is, well, you know, it wouldn't be. This seems to work really well as a result. There we go, my artillery pieces are doing pretty well. I also noticed they have really upped the graphical fidelity this time around. There's less annoying orange. There seems to be a little bit more variety in terms of the terrain, which is good. And there was a lot of orange, let's just say, in the first game. So if you didn't like orange, well, you were screwed. Tower variety seems to have been amped up this time around as well, which is exactly what you would expect from a title like this, and an upgrade to the franchise. And overall, it's hard to really find too much fault with it. I think the only thing I would say is there really enough new stuff for people to suddenly get back into it? Or more to the point, does there need to be? If people really like these games, surely you want an incremental upgrade. You don't want something that completely changes the style of the game. I'm going to get behind this and then deploy my decoy. And that's going to force it to twist around. And then I can deploy my repair as these guys walk through it. And we can completely annihilate that with our rocket pods. This is more of an urban warfare scenario where things are very close by, so using the rocket guys is a much better idea, although at this range, I think they might be able to pop a few good shots at long range, so let's do that. There we go. Looks like we've managed to heat our flamethrower up to maximum levels as well, so yeah, my guy at the front's pretty much rocking it. That's how we like to see. And then we can get some good shots over in this direction. It's a pretty enjoyable game, honestly. It's... The switchover mechanic is simple, but effective from a strategic standpoint, and it's something that you kind of got to do on the fly. It requires a little bit of twitch skill. This is about as slow as the game goes. You can speed it up a little bit more. I think if people were looking for something cerebral that would allow them to take a lot of time, well, they're definitely not going to get that. There's no real doubt. You've got to be quick on your feet when it comes to this game. But that's fine, and I'm about to lose a unit. As I said, you've got to be quick on your feet. I was not quick enough to save my guy at the back, so I'm certainly not going to be getting 100% completion for that, but there we go. Let's get another repair aura down, just to help out a few of our hammer units. It's also gorgeous. I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but this game is really, really pretty. There's no doubt about it. It is a good-looking game, and they put a lot of effort into making it look that way. It's impressive, actually. Now, this is an indie company we're talking about here, so they've done a good job. Now, I'm just trying to pick off the remainder of this. I don't think I can actually go into the center of that city, unfortunately. So I'm just going to speed the game up a little bit. You can shoot at me, that's fine. As much as I would like to say I could use the towers to kind of kill their own stuff, you can't. Which is disappointing, you know? It would be kind of nice if you could do that. I wonder if it's possible to actually turn in there. Yeah, it is. I could actually just turn there and just go directly into the maw of the beast. So let's do that. Can I get some good shots off there? I can maybe get one artillery shot off before having to change them into assault mode. Let's change them into Gatling mode so we can get a little shot off initially. Okay, so as soon as he takes his shot, we're going to change it over. There we go. Drop the repair aura. And then distract this behemoth tower. And then we can obliterate the rest of it. Sweet. Nicely done. So, what about the weaknesses of the original game and whether or not they've actually changed things around? Well, the voice acting's a lot better, that I can tell you for a fact. The script writing is still suspect. That was probably the biggest issue that I actually had with the initial game itself, was that the voice acting and the scripting was just... It was lousy. Let's be honest, it was very, very B-movie indeed, and not in a good way. So, that kind of sucked. There's some improvement here, but not by much. It's like, we've got a bigger budget this time around, we can hire people that actually know what they're doing, and maybe we can write a script that actually makes sense and not have a supposedly British person using a huge amount of Americanisms. He doesn't even have an excuse. I've got an excuse. I've been living in America for like a year. I'm picking these things up. I'm trying deliberately to avoid it, but yeah, it's tricky. So I'll give you an example of the voice acting, and then we're going to attempt mission 3. This is a freaking nightmare. So let's give it a shot. Yeah, why not?
We destroyed the Scramblers and discovered Dr. Xander's location on Manhattan Island. Now we need to get him out of there in one piece, along with Project Shockwave. The ice in the harbor cracks under the weight of our Hounds. This is the end game. First Lieutenant Simon Lynx, 3,666 miles north of the Anomaly.
Sergeant Clint Campton, Special Mission Unit from Convoy, Yukon, calling Dr. Xander. Doctor, are you there? Come in.
Yes, guten Tag. This is Dr. Klaus Xander. I cannot express how happy I am to hear your voice. I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time.
Glad to hear it, Doctor. This is Colonel Ellen Bolt. Tell me, what's the status of Project Shockwave?
Shockwave is nearly operational. It's the most powerful weapon we can use against the machines.
Operational? That's very good news, Doctor. Sit tight. Help is on the way. Lynx, we locked into Dr. Xander's exact location. It's on your map.
I'm picking up 2 other signals.
If you think you can handle it, Lieutenant, check them out. But don't let the good doctor wait too long. Lynx, there's one more thing. We found Scorchers in Manhattan. We don't want them to fry us.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting. I think we're gonna buy 2 Hound units to start us off with. Let me have a quick look at the map. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to fire artillery here because there's a building in the way, so let's start with Hounds. Makes sense. This is gonna be a little trickier than what I've done previously. And let's see what we can do. I've got to not suck here. Let's have a look at the route. This is not... I mean, they are not messing around. As you can see, this is ridiculous. This is one of the last missions, I assume, in the game. And it's very much a huge difficulty jump from what we've seen previously. I'm going to try and search this area, because there's resources here. It would be good to be able to grab them. Let's try and get out the most direct way we can. Try and avoid as many of these little bastards as possible. And then we'll head in this direction. This is where Dr. Klaus Xander is. I don't think there's a nice way to go regardless of where we are gonna... Well, I'm gonna skirt around the side here. Seems like the best way to avoid the majority of the crap in the middle. Alright, we're about ready to go. Okay, let's rock it and see what we can do. This is gonna be tricky. Alright, our guys are in. So, what's up ahead? The Scorcher Tower, as you can see here.
We got a big one straight ahead. Remember, this bastard packs a devastating punch, but can only shoot straight ahead.
Now, it's not entirely true. He can shoot straight ahead, but he can also kind of shoot sideways. The main problem is actually distracting him enough to make that happen. This is gonna absolutely suck. Alright. I think we probably should have gone for a closer range setup here. There we go. Uh-oh. This can actually go sideways. That's a bit messy. Should be able to fire from this angle, I would think. And that should do the job. I've already burned 2 repairs, which kind of sucks. But my guys haven't died, so that's the main thing. So he can fire sideways, and he can fire straight ahead. So we can kill him from here. That's not really a big deal. Now, I'm going to change these guys over. Is there a distraction here? There is. Okay, there's the decoy. Nice. Alright, change these guys over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the distraction to hopefully make him fire straight ahead rather than to the sides. So that's only doing damage as they pass through a small amount. And it's forcing me to do that anyway. It's like, let me lead you by the hand. There we go. So now, as you can see, he's going to end up firing in that direction. Yeah, I kind of think it is, because otherwise what's going to end up happening is they're going to fire sideways and completely cover the area of the road, which would not be good. Okay, sweet. That was pretty much about as optimal as it's gonna get. Took a lot of damage there. I think that tower should explode. Nice. And I can just grab that. And now we're about to enter what could be described as hell. There's a lot of crazy stuff coming in our direction. I really don't know why it keeps telling me that. It's like, you just pretty much explained verbatim what these guys can do. I get it, really, I do. You don't have to show me the same piece of information again. I have to assume it's just because it's a press build. It's like, you know what press are? Idiots. And it's like, you're not wrong. What I'm doing here, by the way, is I'm deliberately distracting the towers to take a little bit of fire because I can regenerate my health quite quickly. I'm going to put down this here. And that's the Scorcher Tower. I need to distract this. Otherwise, my guys are going to get obliterated. I don't have any repairs left. Oh, the distraction didn't work either. That's a pain in the ass. Yeah. I pretty much just lost immediately. I don't know why the distraction didn't work, but it didn't. So, hey, GG. It's not easy. As I said, this is one of the final missions of the game. That was on hardcore difficulty. They are not messing around. You've got to do things pretty much perfectly. So if you're looking for a challenging game, then yeah, thankfully this game does have that. So this is Anomaly 2, as I said, and it is nowhere near out yet. This is very much still in development. I don't believe this game even has a release date yet, but you can keep an eye out for it on PC, as well as iOS and Android devices. I really want to revisit this when they get the multiplayer up so that I can give it a try. What I've seen of it so far is that it's a nice little evolution on what we've seen previously. Considering that we, as PC gamers, didn't get Anomaly Korea, we kind of haven't had the stepping stone between this and Anomaly 2, which means that as an upgrade, it's a little bit more profound than the move from Anomaly Korea, which was kind of like Anomaly Warzone 1.5, to this, which is Anomaly 2. Is there enough of a difference? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it comes down to the price. Chances are this is going to be about a $15, $20 game, just like the previous one. And, of course, cheaper on iOS. Production values are much higher across the board, and I love the Warmech morphing thing that they've got going on. I think there's a real possibility for this to be an absolutely fantastic game, from what I've seen of it so far. The story's not much cop, the voice acting's pretty crappy as you might imagine, but from a mechanical standpoint, I can't really pick fault with what they're trying to do, and it's probably because their focus is quite narrow. Don't know whether or not it's going to work for the offense-defense multiplayer mode. They may screw it up there, so we'll keep an eye out for that, but cautious optimism for Anomaly 2 going forward. Keep an eye out, of course, on their website. Link is in the description below this video for more news on this title, as well as the release date. My name has been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.